Hi everybody, how are you? It's Jaiya Victoria. Happy Sunday night. What I usually do on Sunday nights is an energy update for the week. But when I was going to sit down and record it, I realized why not do a live on Facebook and then I'll share it to to YouTube. Maybe Instagram too. So this is where I'm going to originate the energy update that I have to share. But whatever platform you're on, I hope you found it. And kind of cool to do it live, by the way, in case anybody does show up and wants to ask a question. But the reason I started doing energy updates was because I remember like 5 years ago, before I moved to New York, I used to live in Canada, that I was really helped by people on YouTube who would do like energy updates. They would talk about the energetic climate, and what was kind of going on, because we can go through a lot in our own selves, in our own lives. And I believe that, from working with energy now for 5 years, sorry, there's a kitty in front of the ring light, so just give it a minute. Here we go. I need my ring light, darling. We've all got a little Mariah Carey in us, don't we? Anyway, so I used to be really helped by that, and because we do go through our own journeys for sure, but we're also we're all connected at the same time. So life is full of these paradoxes, if you haven't noticed, so that's one that I think is important to address, that we're all going through our own things, but there's also a connection, that we share. And so we can actually go through similar things at the same time. And then, when someone shows up and they go like, hey, here's what's going on, this can help you kind of get a sense of what, why you're going through what you're going through, or, what that's about. So that's what I'm going to do. Here's another kitty. Okay. I have 3 kitties, and we moved, by the way, that's why I have a different background, in a different part of Brooklyn. And maybe I'll get into that a little bit, but not too much. It's about the energy update. So let's get started. So basically, okay, well, now the ring light. What is this trying to tell me? Okay, so sorry about that. This is real life for you guys. It's just what happens sometimes. Oh, even better. See, that's kind of the vibe right now. This or something better. All right. I hope you're enjoying this live entertainment. Okay, so the energy update, this probably will relate to this somehow, I'm sure. The energy update right now is, this is my tea, by the way, if you're wondering what that is. Okay, so I'm going to start a little further back than right now to give you context for right now, and this is relevant. So right after the pandemic, I would say, I think it was 2021, I started getting visions of the future, which is something that happens to me sometimes. And the visions that I started getting weren't visual, they were energetic. And I could feel something. And then it would go away. But it was like I was being shown something. And what I was being shown here in the middle of New York City, at that time I was in Manhattan, was that there was a time coming where the light, and I'm not talking about like physical light, I'm talking about energetic light, positivity, would get so strong around us that no negative energy inside of us could hide. And so we used to live in a time where you could hide negativity. You could hide the fact that you were greedy. You could hide the fact that you were lying. You could hide the fact that you didn't have good intentions, right? That has all kinds of effects on us and our lives and society, and it's a gift to have more light, and I'm talking again about energetic light being streamed at our universe, our planet, us, to illuminate the truth. And it's for our benefit. So it's a good thing. But what happens when there's more love and light being streamed in from God to us is that you can't hide negative things anymore. So you can't hide from your addictions anymore. You can't hide from the fact that you're carrying trauma anymore. You can't hide from the fear inside of you, the insecurity, you name it. If it's negative, it will become uncomfortable. And so uncomfortable that you might feel like you're going crazy a little bit. Because it's like you want to get away from that energy so bad. And honestly, love is the presence of God. And when you're in the presence of God, everything is so clear. It's so clear. And I mean that just with full, like this is a job that I'm doing right now, like to speak about these things. And I've had to do so much clearing in my energy to be able to talk about these things, and to have the bravery to show up and talk about them. It's not always easy for anybody used to talking about these things to do it. It takes a lot. It's like you're a warrior. Because there are a lot of negative energies that want to stop us, right? So the first thing for you to know is that this process isn't something that happened all at once. It's something that is happening over a period of time. And in our linear structure of time, it does look like years, because that was 2020 when I first started really getting that sense that was going to get stronger. And then now we're in 2024, so it's been 3 years. And I find right now is sort of the moment where we're kind of all picking up on the fact that that's happening and is going to keep happening. And so what I want to say is that, the fact that light around us is getting stronger again, what this is it's transforming the world we live in into its most positive version. And this is what we call the new world, or I'm sure it's been called lots of different things depending on who you're talking to, but the language I use with my business, Energy Queen, and the work that I'm bringing to the world is I call it the new world. And there's actually a new world chakra between your solar chakra and your heart chakra, and it's like a blue-green. And I started seeing this chakra when I worked on my clients and in myself. And I call it the new world chakra because it's like you have a new world identity. So the new world is basically the same planet. It's the same physical body that you're in, but it's like the real, true version of it, which is positive, right? So when you think of peace on earth, when you think of you living your actual best life as your actual real self, that's your new world identity. And the new world is about us living in paradise. It's basically us going back to the Garden of Eden before, the downfall. That's what is happening right now, you guys. And I know you might be like, bunch of mumbo jumbo. It's very real. And it's just going to keep getting more real. And these aren't my opinions, but I'm explaining what is happening, okay? Because you're going to be able to pick up on things now, and you're going to be able to go, oh, I can see that this is actually happening in my life. And so some things for you to know about this is that, number one, you have a new world identity. Number two, this is a positive process, so it's not bad, it's not negative. Number three, it's going to feel negative. Why? Because negativity is getting purged. But it's like doing a detox. Have you ever done a detox, a physical detox? When you do a detox, you get headaches at first, you have less energy, You know, you kind of like have weird things happening sometimes, or your skin will like have rashes, and it's purging toxins. Okay, so think of this time as a spiritual detox, and we're being forced to do it. Like, you cannot get out of it. And that was the thing that I really noticed from those visions I had in 2021, was that it was not optional. Like, it was like happening, and you cannot change it. You can't do anything about it. You have to let go of negativity, and that's the only way. And I was also aware at that time that that's why I do the work I do. And I have to be really brave about talking about it, because people will start to go, I don't want to say go crazy, but people will start to feel crazy, because when you have negativity again inside of you and it becomes so unbearable. And like I was going to say, when you're standing in the presence of God, things are so clear. And it doesn't feel, I mean, it was honestly like the most terrifying feeling I've ever had, to be aware that there was negativity inside of me in the presence of God. Because God made us. God loves us. We don't want to, it's like we feel so, it was just, I can't even describe it. It was just this feeling of like shame and sadness, and just like being so sorry, you know, and just wanting it out so badly. And I feel like that might make people, again, who don't know what's happening, don't know that it's a positive process, actually, don't know that negative energy is clearable. And again, that's the work that I do with Energy Queen Alchemy. I can see the negative energy, and I dissolve it by combining a positive frequency with it. The positive frequency I use most often is the blood of Christ. That's the positive frequency in the energy world, which is a physical place that I combine physically in the energy world with the block inside of you, and it dissolves. And so in even one session, I clear thousands, because I have a language that duplicates the results. And this is work that I've developed, that God taught me to develop through the last 5 years. So, you know, like, this is stuff that is happening. It's not scary, but like there is sort of a seriousness to it, because it's really happening. You know, it's not just something that we're talking about or speculating or like peace and love. It's like actually, you know, it's just going to get stronger, because there's no way out, you know, there's no way to get away from it. And so I hope that helps you to hear that you're not crazy, that if things are getting forced out of yourself, forced out of your life, know that it's a spiritual detox. Even if you feel bad at first, things will get better. Okay, so what are some things that you can do right now to help you with this process? I like being super practical with my work. I don't want to just be like talking up, but like not making it practical. So this is what I will say. If I were you right now, and I mean, and these are things I'm having to do too, I want you to let go of your old life, because there is, you know, when we're talking about the new world and new world identity, there is an old version of you that included many illusions about who you are. And then with these love frequencies coming in, revealing the truth, there is a truth of who you are. And maybe it matches, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe you believed you were one way because that's what you were taught, and that's what your parents taught you, and that's what some people still believe about you, maybe what you believe about yourself. And then there's the actual truth. So you have to get as close as you can to the actual truth. And it's like, now. And what does this mean? So this means letting go of anything that feels old at this point, fearlessly. And I will say I was like pretty much forced out of my apartment, not like in a bad way, like my roommate just decided to move, and she gave me lots of notice, but like it was a scary process for me, because I had gotten so used to being there. And if it were up to me, even if I was getting spiritual nudges to move, I was like, nah. You know? So like, we can be very stubborn, that's okay. But remember, I always tell my clients this, that like the change is always good. It's always positive. Like if you're letting go of something old, you're always gonna more positive, right? So sometimes you'll be forced, you know, to do something different, and you will hate it, but go along with it with trust, you know, because there is an old version of you and there's a new version of you, and these spiritual energies are forcing you out of love for your own benefit to be who you really are. That's number one. I would say go with it, trust, and let go of things that feel old. So if the apartment you're living in feels like that's not really where my energy's at anymore, yeah, you should move, you know? If you're dating someone and you're like, this isn't the person I would be dating in my ideal life, in the paradise version of my life, in the new world version of my life, then you have to break up with them. And if you don't, you're going to be forced to, out of love, you know? So many examples. This applies to clothing. This applies to the nitty-gritty details of your life. I actually cleaned my new room today. I washed the walls, I washed the floors, and I looked at every object in the room, you know, because it's like I can't hold on to anything that feels old at this point. And objects are important. You might not think they're important, but they're important because they hold a frequency, and they hold you in a certain frequency and identity too. So like if you're holding on to makeup or clothes or whatever it is, and that's not what the new version of you would own, then you're actually keeping your frequency in the old and not in the new. And so you're going to get that weird feeling and confusion and feel like dark and negative when like you could just let it go. I say really, you know, I really favor letting things go and favor the new. That's where you want to be in this time, especially. Another thing I would tell you to do is, this is how you find out what your new world identity is. And it's not hard, it doesn't have to be hard. You ask yourself this one question, and you don't think about it, I'm going to ask myself later. You ask yourself in this moment in time, because you always have to ask it right now, because it can change. So you ask yourself, what is my ideal life right now? So as the person I am in this moment, right now, what would the ideal version of my life look like? And you have to write down that list, and you have to get specific about what that actually is for you. And you have to take steps to make that happen. Because that's not who you want to be, that's who you really are. Because energetically, all negativity can be purged, all negativity can be removed. All of it. All of it. All of it. So your identity is positive energy only. That's your identity. Okay? That's your real identity. When you die and you go to heaven, you're going to see that clearly. That's all. That's the you that will do that. It's just positive energy. No negativity at all. It's actually a part of your identity. So what high positive energy is what makes you feel high positive energy. And what is that? That's your ideal life in this moment, at this age, this day, as this person. Correct? So, you have to write down that list. What does your ideal life look like right now? Where would you want to live? What does that actually look like? Where do you shop? How do you dress? What does your hair look like? What are your relationships like? Who do you hang out with? Where do you hang out? And I don't ever want you to think about those things ever again as something you're going to do in your future. That has to be your life right now. And yes, maybe there's an interim lag period for creating that. But you have to be actively creating that. You have to actively take steps. You have to actively believe that that is your ideal, not your ideal life, that's your real life. That's your real identity. Because again, those are the things manifest in this world that make you feel the highest possible energy. The highest energy is who you are. And like I said, what you want is always going to change. So your job right now is to get into your ideal life today. And maybe you won't get there all the way, but I call this next leveling. And I like to call it throwing yourself at your next level. How close can you get today? What can you throw away in your closet? What can you do? What can you change? Who can you email? What steps can you take that affirm the truth? Because remember, we're in a time of radical truth. that this isn't who you are. And you might think that your next level or your ideal life is having a lot of money and living in a mansion. But I want you to actually ask your soul, because that, it might look different than you thought and it might evolve, but as long as you're always creating it, your goal is to get into it, and then as time goes on, you're always going to stay in it. And that, again, idea of your next level or your ideal life is going to evolve. Your ideal life when you're 40 is going to be different than right now if you're not 40 yet. When you're 50, it's going to look different. When you're 60, but if you always want to be living your ideal life, you literally have to start today. And that's something I don't think a lot of people are doing. You know what I mean? That's how it works. And yeah, you have to throw yourself at it. You have to look at how, you know, and I like to employ the law of empowerment. There are a lot of different things you can do. Obviously, my coaching and working with me one-on-one, you get a lot more guidance, and I help my clients do this. This is what I've learned to do. And again, like, all my work was taught to me by God. So it was to help make all these things practical and help you actually learn how to work with this aspect of your life, which is the energetic, which is so big in life, along with the actions you take. But yeah, I like to use the law of empowerment. That's one law in the energy world that is really helpful. And the law of empowerment says that you have unlimited empowerment. That's something you're given. You have unlimited ability to take action. Think about that. Unlimited. You could send 1,000 emails tomorrow. You could do 1,000 new things to make your next level possible. Think about it. 1,000 or 1,000,000 or beyond or unlimited. I want you to really think about how powerful you are. And this is why it's important to have negative energy cleared, because why isn't everybody doing that? Because of negative energy, which is doubt, which is fear, and its job. You're fighting a war, and you might not realize it every day. Its job is to stop you. That's why we don't try. You know, that's why we don't believe, because it's in us saying you can't. So we don't. We might not even do one thing that would create our ideal life. But like I said, there's the old you and then there's the new you, and you are going to have no choice. And the energies right now are making it impossible for us to not make this change. Again, for your benefit, for the benefit of the planet, and for the evolution of us all. Because also, by the way, we need you to be who you really are. Because you think about the people who have inspired you, they're people who are like this, you know? But what if we were all like this? What if we all got to live as who we were created to be? Isn't it a travesty if you don't? Because there's only one you. You know what I mean? So like, whatever it is that's inside of you that makes you feel the highest energy possible, that's your job. Sorry, not sorry. That's why you're here. And it's a really shortcut to finding out your purpose. And it took me a long, long time to figure this out. And so I understand what it's like to not know why you're here and what you're supposed to be doing. And also, even if you find out you don't want to do it because it seems too far away, but it's just the truth of who you are. And that's how I finally was able to understand my purpose, was through understanding how energy works, which again, like I said, is, you know, you are the positive energy only. And so whatever makes you feel the highest energy possible, that's who you are. That's your real life. That could be like, you know, what you call your purpose. That's, you know, but I see it as who you are and who you really are and who you really are right now. And if you're not living that life, it's like you're living a lie. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you think of like the Princess Diaries or something like that. Like, she was a princess the whole time, you know? And then she just found out, but she was the whole time. She already was. So it's like, that's like you in your old life and your new life. You already are that person. And everything's going to make more sense once you start figuring that out. Everything's going to make more sense, you know, when you start taking that seriously. And yeah, again, that's why I do the work I do, because that new version of you, by the way, has clearer energy than this version. this is a version of you that has literally less negativity, no negativity, in fact, but I don't know if I've been able to achieve I'm still clearing so much from my own soul. So like, I don't know, I'm careful about saying like you can totally get clear energy while here on earth. I don't know, but I'm sure anything's possible. But the clearest version of yourself energetically is this person. So that's why my work helps you to do this faster. And again, why my work was given to me was because this is going to become a time when people are going to feel like they're going crazy, and things are crazy, and it might look like things are getting worse, and like, you actually might start to feel really unstable. But I want you to remember that that's not what's really happening. What's really happening is the light is shining so brightly that the negativity is now more visible. It's more apparent, and it's more important to let it go. It's more important to get it cleared. It's more important to do what I'm telling you, and take these things seriously. And so you'll start seeing things that used to work before not work as well. I'm seeing this a lot in the online coaching world. Like, people just see through things faster. That's really happening. Like, no one's really believing in illusions anymore, and things are getting exposed. And one thing I like to say, though, among all this, because a lot of people are saying that right now, like, everything's getting exposed, and it's like, it sounds terrifying. It's like, what am I doing wrong? And maybe I don't know I am. It's gonna get exposed. But I like to think of it as a positive as well, because yes, some things will get exposed, and you will see the things in yourself that you need to see. Don't worry, you will, because of the light frequencies. But you will also see the truth of who you are, the power that you have, how much you matter to people, how important your work is. So the truth being exposed isn't all negative. There are so many positive truths being exposed about who you really are. This is the moment where Julie Andrews arrives and tells you that you're a princess or a queen. What was it? Genovia? That made up country. So yeah, I hope that I gave you some practical steps that you can follow. I always like to emphasize that there's no need to be afraid, because again, that's what fear wants to create chaos. It wants to create inaction. It wants to create disempowerment. It wants to prevent you from becoming who you really are, from understanding and knowing who you really are, from actually living that life fearlessly. And so anything negative that you feel inside or that's happening outside of you, it's a purge for your benefit. And think of it as, again, a spiritual detox. When you're going through a physical detox, you don't freak out when you don't feel good at first. You go like, this is necessary for the positive thing to happen. But I would keep going through your process with what I suggested, your ideal life. By the way, I'll just add my tip for creating your ideal life once you have the list of what that looks like is you write down what you believe you need to do to create that, not what you think you should or someone else told you or you're afraid of. No, ask your soul, what do I just believe that I need to do to make this happen? And that will become your day-to-day list. And beliefs are energy, so when you work with your beliefs, you create things so much faster. So that's my hack. I live my life that way. Be really patient and compassionate with yourself, because it's not an easy process. And what I explained here, I don't think like we know this, and the mainstream definitely doesn't know it. So like, I hope that if it reached you, it helps you. And obviously, like, I'm open to, I'm sharing what I can, and I hope that it reaches the right people. I hope it reaches you if you're asking these questions. And I really encourage you to be compassionate with yourself, but also very fearless, because fear is absolutely nothing. It's nothing. It's an illusion, a shadow. It doesn't even exist. It's not worth you being stopped. Trust me. So, and I clear it. That's why I'm called the energy queen, because I just clear fear. So I'm going to end with three things. The first thing I want to say is that the reason that fear is clearable is because of the death of Jesus on the cross and the resurrection. He cleared it all already. So what we deal with now is just fear, which is not real. The negative energies are not real. They were already dissolved and cleared. That's how I clear negative energy. It's not even me doing it. It's just my belief. And belief can move energy. Belief can create change with energy, because energy is beliefs. So it's just my belief that that's real, and that's what you pay me for. That's what gets you results. But it's not actually me doing it. It's actually because of the death and the resurrection. And it already happened. So don't worry that you're ever going to get defeated, that negative energy will ever win in your life, that you're not going to be able to get through what you're getting through. You will, because it already happened. Amen. And it was truly God and Jesus that taught me how to do what I do. And I have to pray all the time. I have to get stronger all the time. It's not me, it's them. Like, that is how I do what I do. And also teaching me about energy and how it's part of the natural world. God created that. You know what I mean? So, like, it's not, I don't know, it's not off God. It's not God. It's just like the natural world or anything else. The second thing I want to do is a Hamani activation for you. Hamani is my spiritual language that I downloaded, and it is a language, a heavenly language that commands energy to do specific things. And I don't necessarily know what I'm going to be doing, but I know that it's going to encourage you to release the past and let go of negative energy, return to the truth about you. So to receive Hamani, you just have to be present with me, and it'll only last maybe like a minute. All right? Halala akranini alabarani aklila aranini akaralala alia karanini alabarani akalala alia karanini alara arisiala kalia karania ya karisia kliara lara alia karania segnane alara perani clara alia karania la parania alecria secliara alecchiara ilia crania alia crana la crania sniana alara cliara alia crania. So again, I'm moving energy. I don't know necessarily what each word means, but I could feel something moving, sort of just like a blessing, you know, to encourage you to remember. Everything I'm saying isn't stuff I'm making up. It's stuff that is actually happening, and so you will remember. And so it's just, the process is, I'm reminding you, and it's helping you actually remember in your own soul, and recognize what is going on. And to feel it, and to know that you're safe, and to know that you're going to be okay. You know, let the energy start spinning clockwise. Love spins clockwise. So just, you know, feel that starting to happen. There. And Siani, that's a word that I say a lot through Hamani. It's Sciani, and that means return. So return to who you are. And the last thing I want to say is, if you haven't joined my Facebook group, I highly recommend that you come join us. This is where I'm doing giveaways once a week. This is where I'm sharing exclusive content, exclusive lives, and we would love to have you in there. It's a special community where you can connect with me on a regular basis, and I'm always posting daily in there, activations, questions, things for you to help keep you moving in this direction that we're talking about toward the new world version of you. So if you'd like to join, I'll put the link in the comments, the description, and I hope you will. And yeah, I'm wishing you so much just connection with your soul and the spirit and the truth that you are, and that you keep remembering that there's no shame in having negativity come up because it's getting purged. There's no shame in having not only a need for energy to be cleared, but to embrace the lessons that you're learning, which also will clear your energy. And keep the faith. Just keep the faith. So thank you so much. This has been a pretty intense energy update, but I think it's necessary right now. So thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon.